Welcome to workout B. Again, you'll be doing 3 rounds of the first block, 3 rounds of the second block, and then you have your finisher. In the first block, a couple things to note. Bench fly. I know some of you will be doing it on the floor, but I'm going to demo it on the bench, which is where it's traditionally done. When you're on the bench, so you won't have to remember this for a floor, I'm going to have my feet slightly behind my knees, pressing down, because your feet matter, especially anything lying on the bench, your feet matter immensely. The dumbbells come straight up, and my elbows will actually, this is the one time I'm going to tell you to have a slightly softer elbow instead of locking it out. I'm going to open up the dumbbells till they're about my shoulder height, and then I'm going to use my pecs. Imagine there's a little orange between my boobs, and squeeze it to bring the dumbbells together. So you'll open and focus on squeezing that orange to bring the dumbbells up. Now the same thing can be done before, you'll just have a slightly less range of motion because you won't be able to go slightly below that shoulder level. And the second thing to note is your wide grip push-up. Normal push-ups are right here around your shoulders in terms of hand placement. For this wide grip, I want you to go a little bit further out from your shoulders. So if you're on the floor, well, actually let me demo from the bench. So if you're working on an incline, think whatever's your normal width, which is probably 2 or 3 hands, you're going to go wider. But I don't want the elbows to come up to the same level as the shoulder because it puts strain on your rotator cuff. So you're still going to have your elbows a little lower, but the hands are placed wider. So in this position, I'm going to be wider grip, off an incline. And if it's on the floor, it'll be the same thing, a little bit wider than I normally place my hands to press down and come back up. In block 2, there's something called an isometric split stance row. And what that means, so many fancy words, is I'm in this lungy position. It's a little smaller than a lunge. I'm holding that back knee up as I row the dumbbell straight up. The upper arms are right by the sides of my rib cage, and the elbows going in a straight direction up towards the ceiling, ends up in about 90 degrees. Don't go too high where you're going, creating, can you see how my elbow is making a smaller angle? Then it becomes a little bit more strain on your rotator cuff. So that is the isometric split stance row. And in the surrenders, I know it can be a little rough on the knees. So instead, make sure you have something padded on the floor. And I know people don't like this exercise, but it is essential, especially if you get older, to be able to come up and down from the floor. So that's, in my mind, that's one of the main goals of surrender. So you're going to have no dumbbells or dumbbells, and you're gently going to step back, lower with control, because you don't want to bounce off the knee, placing one knee down, the other knee comes down, and then back up to a standing position. You're working on controlling coming down to the floor and coming back up with or without weight. And the last exercise in this second block is a dead bug, which sounds like it's easy, and it feels too easy. That means you're not engaging your core enough. So in this exercise, the hardest part of it, and what I want you to focus on, is keeping that lower back pressed up against the floor. So when you're in this position, keeping that lower back on the floor is easy, but as soon as I extend out my arm and leg, my lower back lifts. But I'm going to purposely keep it pressed against the floor, whether my arms are together, or my arm and leg are together or extended. That's where the work is. And when the back wants to come up, I'm forcing it down towards the ground, and I feel my core tighten. So that's what I want you to remember with that one. And then the last part with the swings, we went over this during the workshop. And when you do a swing, remember, it's not just a bending and unbending. I want you to imagine you jumping, like you're about to jump as far as you can, and you don't come off from the floor. So it's getting ready for a jump, and then my heels of the feet stay connected. Just remember, that's the explosive part of the swing. Enjoy workout B, and I'll see you for workout C.